minority stereotype of Asians guide my thinking of Asians versus allowing my experience to get. So basically, the reputation of American Asians was forced on everyone to believe said thing versus looking at the American Asians as they really are. I didn't make that difference completely. Now, in my subconscious, I did because I can go back and think and recall. But in the moment, I didn't allow my conscious mind to divide the perception of what preceded American Asians versus who they really are.
Well, yeah. Well, about that stereotypes, like I've seen it in movies and series, like Asian people are smart in maths. But if we are smart, we wouldn't like a corrupt politician and would be a first world country already. But yeah, sadly we're not smart at all. And that's what the most scariest part about stereotypes is that if a lot of people believe on that thing, it becomes truth, and it becomes the thing that people believe in for many many years to become it, and it will be hard to break that thing. So um on the other side, when you're here already, like of course there's like a huge difference in like lifestyle and things, and so how do you like adapt in here, especially that Asia is like a complete different like world, especially for you that came from a first world country. How did you adapt? Is it easy or is it hard for you?
So I think that's a great question. Um, I'm gonna answer that question like this. So when I was in the military and I was stationed in Japan, I had a lot of comforts. So the culture shock wasn't too much because I still was insulated in an American military base. So I had all the luxuries of first world, right? But when I went out and about, there was some difference, but because Japan is like what first world of the East, so it's like certain things were kind of like you know third world far as how it looked, but all the systems and applications and how people would talk, walk was all relatively first world. Um, what I mean by that, very corporate. That's what I mean. So yeah, but moving to another country outside of Japan or besides Japan, moving to a third world country, going back to what you asked, the misconceptions and whatnot. Okay, so can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
So when I was a kid, what I learned about the Philippines when I was a kid in my history class, actually it was my geography class, not my history class. My history class was a black woman. My geography class was a white man. Let's say that. Not for nothing, but in that geography class, the book that we were reading from described Filipinos as squatters. And I said, wait a minute, how can these Filipinos be squatters in their own land? Like as a kid, I thought that, but the pictures that they showed of Filipinos was in black and white, not in color. Because in black and white, they can keep up with the model minority image of what the Asian's supposed to look like. But if those pictures were in color, we would have said, "Who is these black folks over here pretending to be Filipinos?"
Yeah.
So, but the point being, I learned as a kid that there was biases in what we were learning as because when I read that and we were reading that in class, the Spaniards came over there and they settled and they civilized the Philippines and they colonized them and they brought civilization to them This is the language that was being used, right? And then American, upgraded the Filipino, and when we upgraded them, we had to manage manage the squatters. I mean, the squatters. Like, this is how the language that was used. Filipinos are not squatters. This is their land. How can they be squatters in their land? So that's just one of the things that I had problems with. But speeding up to today, when I moved to a third world country, I was expecting that the squatter thing. Oh, it's gonna be poor. It's gonna be rugged. You're gonna see a lot of craziness. You're gonna see people. You're gonna see savages running around, booty naked, with no clothes on. Like, in my right mind, I didn't think that. But once again, you have what you're taught and what you know better to believe. I decided to go with what, in my right mind, what I know better to believe. So I didn't believe that. So I went with an open mind. Okay. And coming here with an open mind, I was willing to experience everything that I will allow myself to see and to know. And in doing so, I was surprised. I said, wow, like, they got everything we got. They got KFC, they got Mickey D's, they got Popeyes, they got resorts, they got hotels, they got highways, byways, they got fancy cars, they got clubs, they got studios, they got, apartments, they got condos, like, they got water fountains. I'm thinking to myself, wow, they got literally everything that we have in the States they have. And they got malls. Like, one of the biggest malls in the world is in the Philippines.
Yeah, but I think like the term squatter, like the one that is being taught in America, I think it comes because most of the beautiful things that we have here right now is funded by the US. It's from American investors. So that's why I think Americans don't think that we are we own that shit. Like, I don't think I don't think they see us as the owner of this country, because I think they still think that we own this country because they invested a lot of money in here. I guess that's why we have this like love-hate relationship with the US, because we wouldn't be able to have these things without the partnership with them. But in trade of that, we are stuck with like the modern slavery of the US system, like the capitalist US, the bureau capitalistic system. Because yeah, until now, I think there's like this study that 80% of Filipinos can't buy their own home. So I guess that's where squatters came from, because again, we need to buy home from US companies and we can't afford that. So that's like the saddest thing, and I don't think some people from other countries realize that how powerful that system that have been created in like the third world. Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. But
Can I speak to that really quick?
yep, yep.
Okay, so um, you addressed how Filipino people experience oppression and occupation of America. Okay, and you touched on the squatter comment that I made. Hopefully, you wasn't offended, but that's just what I read. That's what I was taught, and I'm bringing it to you and everyone and all my listeners of what I learned. But the difference is, I realize, even though you have a lot of you have a lot of Chinese investors. See, I had to catch myself. You had a lot of Chinese investors, right? American investors, people, European investors, right? You have investors from all over the continent and the globe invested in the Philippines, right? And to that point, ownership. So the American mind believes whatever I, even if Americans, okay, so even if the Americans created the condition in which you live in, they don't see that as a wrong if they invest money into you. So it's like I destroy you, but I'm going to invest all this money and resources, but you don't get to benefit it. But at least I'm bringing this stuff to your land. So I'm making your land look great, but you don't benefit from the land. You don't benefit from the investment. You're somewhat probably in the same condition or worse than before, but it don't look like you are, right? So that's the American mind to say, I own you. I can destroy you or I can build you up. Either way, your ass is mine. That's the American mindset, right? And that's a capitalistic mindset. I don't have that mindset because I don't think that way. But the point being, this is the connectivity. Remember I mentioned about intersectionality? I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Now I'm gonna talk about myself, not to talk about myself, but as an intersectionality to bridge the gaps for us to understand one another. Okay, as an example. So in America, when I was coming over here and visiting for the first time, being in the Philippines, I'm like, wow. I saw a lot of good things, but then I saw a lot of things that made me question like what's going on here, like what's really happening. And I, for what it's worth, I relate to that because certain places in the Philippines, I felt like I was back in America. This is what I mean. Exploitation, right? Is seen here, but it can be seen in the States. This is what people from outside looking in America don't see. So there's a lot of poverty in America, and a lot of the poverty is within minorities. Now, minorities are broken up into race, right? And political structures surrounded by race, right? And black people as a demographic have suffered harshly under the American capitalistic system, the American experiment. Yet, just like white Americans, white investors, or American investors, let me just say that way, just like they invest in the Philippines and how they want to treat the people of the Philippines, that's the same mentality that they have about black people. Your ass is lucky that we are even investing and doing this and doing that. And you're lucky that we did Jim Crow. You're lucky that we took away Jim Crow. You're lucky that we allowed affirmative action to go place. You're lucky that DEI was allowed to go place. Now I'm going to take these things away. This is what our country is taking away. Our country is taking away DEI, was used to support and to help the wrongs that have been done to black people. But guess what? It supported everybody. We can't just America's not just going to do something just for one group, right?